So, welcome this morning, and playing with us this morning is our practitioner, Nisa Barrows. And we are always blessed to have Jeff Harrison. And today we have a special, wonderful guest, Jamie Lula. So it's going to be an exciting and creative morning. So join with me in getting settled and getting ready. Just relax in your seats. Close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. And just take a deep breath. And allow yourself to sink into that deep part of you, deep within, where you know that all is well.
All is well. We breathe this in. Knowing that the one life, the one love, the one power is as a radiant sun. Radiating life, love, that which moves out into expression as that which each one here calls me. We know that each one here is a radiant, glowing center of divine love, divine peace, vibrant joy. Deepen into this knowing. Receive it. Trust in this creative beingness. Each one here, a creative center of divine mind. Receive it. Own it. Live it. Rest in the one life, the one love, the one power within you. Within each one here. And so it is. Good morning. My reading for this morning is from A Science of Mind magazine, October 99, by Jacqueline Small, and it's called Materializing Spirit. Bringing the sacred into the ordinary requires our full and purposeful focus upon whatever we are observing in the present moment. Seeing the goodness, truth, and beauty in something makes it sacred. We give the ordinary its sacred meaning. This is our part in the divine plan. when we can consciously experience the very essence of, of something. Both it and we are transformed. The two have become one. We are, for that moment, merged in spirit. To have an intimate relationship with the sacred, we must first be able to detect it, then, with wondrous awe, make conscious its numinous essence. Then, with reverence, we surround the new creation with our protective love and our earthly wisdom concerning how to utilize our creative spiritual power in the world. In this manner, we become technicians of the sacred. This concept has resided in spiritual paths throughout humanity's history and contains the paradox that our human perception makes possible the materialization of spirit here on earth. Spirit is everywhere, of course, but with no eyes to see, no ears to hear, it goes unrecognized and remains untapped. Having been given free will and dominion over this planet, it is our sacred duty as sons and daughters of our Creator to realize spirit. As we commit to this sacred responsibility, it slowly begins to dawn on us that we are indeed never apart from God. We see that God is living right inside our own nature. While preoccupied with the mundane, we thought we were simply living life. Now we sense that a greater life is living us. Ponder on this simple miracle of possibility and align your human personality with the God within. Thank you.
God, you are so beautiful. 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 I can't take my eyes off of you. Can't take my eyes off of you. Can't take my eyes off of you. Oh, oh, God, you are so beautiful. Come on. God, you are so beautiful. God, you are so beautiful. God, you are so beautiful. I can't wait to touch and feel your presence. Can't wait to touch and feel your presence. Can't wait to touch and hold your hand. Oh, oh, come on. God, you are so beautiful. 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 I can't wait to hear your voice. Can't wait to hear your voice. Can't wait to hear your voice in me. Oh God, I am smitten by this love I feel. Oh God, use me as a place where you are revealed. I commit my life to live in peace. Oh, I devote my life to live with amazing grace. God, you are so beautiful. 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 I owe everything I am to you. I owe everything I am to you. I owe everything I am to you. God, you are so beautiful. God, you are so beautiful. God, you are so beautiful. Here we go. God, you are so beautiful.
Thank you, thank you. So we light our candle today. Get in there and light it. There we go. For power. Yes, power. Some of us shrink when we hear that. You're more powerful than a locomotive, faster than a speeding bullet, able to create tall buildings at a single bound. Ernest Holmes tells us that there's a power in the universe and we can use it. So where do we plug in, right? Where and how do we plug in? Because we want that power to be there. And I'm going to kind of move some of this stuff around here. There is a play called The Starlight Express. And in the Starlight Express, there's this little train that some of us can identify with. This little train that just keeps trying to get up the hill and can't quite get up the hill. And this little train's name is Rusty. Kind of get it? Rusty. And Rusty one day in frustrations, and also there's a legendary big locomotive that's called the Starlight Express. And everybody talks about the Starlight Express. You know those legends, those stories and whatever. And one day Rusty goes, "Starlight, Starlight, are you real?" And out of nowhere, this big booming voice comes down and says, "Rusty, are you blind? Open your mind. You are the starlight. You are the power within." So the power that we're talking about today is that power within. It's kind of like our teaching symbol. Now, when you first come in, you see this, and everybody goes, "What's that big V up there?" It's not a V, right? We kind of learned in our class last week, in our foundation classes, it's not a V. I used to think of it as a funnel. It's spirit on the top, God, spirit, universal intelligence, all the wisdom, all the abundance, no limitation, just unlimited power that descends down through this middle section, which is our minds, collective and individual, the sieve. So all this greatness, all this power comes down through this sieve into what we see in this world. And that's how we co-create with God. But the trick is, this is not even just a funnel. The trick is, Spirit descends here on the left side. Spirit descends through us creating. And how we give back to God is on the right side, going back up through our expression. That's how we return our expression to God. They call it the law of reciprocity. It's really that give and take. Give and take is not just, I'm fixing this thing. Give and take is not just among people, but it's our relationship. God is relationship, and God is within us and relating and expressing through us. That's how God manifests in this world, is through us, for us, as us. So there's a flow in this teaching symbol. There's a flow in our life of this panel, of this power, this spirit, this allness, working itself, expressing itself through us, and us reciprocating this power and this love by expressing that divinity within. If we just stick on the left side, what happens? It's a single line, a linear line. And what happens is we do a line. It becomes linear. The same thing over and over and over again, right? And what did Einstein tell us when we do the same thing over and over? My glasses and this mic don't like each other. What happens when we do the same thing over and over and over again? It's crazy. We expect a different thing. It's crazy. Right. So if we don't continue the flow, if we don't go back up, we get that same thing over and over and over again. So how do we give back? In a course that I recently took, it's called Conscious Education, they said we have 4 choices. And the first choice was choosing to be a predominant creator in our lives. And when I heard that, I thought, well, that's not exactly right. You know, I don't have to choose to be the predominant creator in my life. I already am. And that's the biggest awareness that I need to accept. I need to know that I'm the predominant creator, and I can create unconsciously or consciously. Judge Thomas Trower, who was one of the people that Ernest Holmes studied the most, along with Emerson, really got into explaining how we are just basically distributors. And I heard it like we're the hole in the flute that the grace flows through. But Trower said that we are distributors of God's intentions. And we take our minds and our intentions and we sort of focus this greatness or this goodness. Will it show up over here? Will it show up over here? Are we going to pressure it down and not allow it to show or not see it? So we co-create with God in the sense that we are not the original creator. We're given the raw materials by God. God is our source. God is the creator. But we can take those raw materials and we can do whatever we choose with them. That is our power of choice. So we can choose to be haphazard. You know, when I first heard this, when I was reading Trower and said, every single thought that you have has the power to create and does create. And I thought, oh my gosh. The stuff that goes on in this brain, oh my gosh. Fortunately, we have so many thoughts that some of them cancel out the other ones. Otherwise, we'd be in a real mess. And look around you, you know, some of this chaos that we see around us is by all those weird thoughts going on in our brains collectively as humans. This is what we create. We have free choice with what to do with what Spirit sends. All goodness comes down, but we filter it by our free choice. So we have that decision. It's the examples of it's staying focused and using that power. Each of us has that power. And some of us, when we heard power, and maybe when I lit that candle, and I said, okay, today we're lighting it for power. Some of us cringe a little bit when we hear the word power, because we think power corrupts. But does power really corrupt? Or does power just magnify that which is already corrupted? It's just like we say money corrupts. Does money really do anything other than magnify what already exists? Nothing changes who we are. It just allows us to shine more brightly with already who we are. So each of us already has that power within us. But sometimes we hide. Ayana Van Zant says that we hide because we don't want to take responsibility. Some of it is we hide from power because we're thinking that it might change us. But it really doesn't. And also in the book study that we've been just completed, Sean Ginwright quoted Martin Luther King, and Martin Luther King said, "Power without love is reckless and abusive. But love, which we all like to talk about more, love without power is sentimental and anemic." The message here is that love and power are not opposites. They're meant to work together. The power of love is like water, which is so gentle and soft and nurturing, and we can play in it, we drink it, water is wonderful. And on the other hand, water is one of the most powerful forces on the planet. Love is like that. It's nurturing, it's soft, it's gentle, and it is also very powerful. Carolyn Miss, in Invisible Acts of Power, says that we are on this planet to learn to be spiritual beings in a physical body, to gain consciousness of our greater purpose. Life on earth is all about learning to manage your power. Managing your personal power in a way that enhances your own spiritual growth while also contributing to the evolution of the people around you and yourself and in the entire global soul. So this doesn't mean that we use our power to meddle in everybody else's life and tell them, how to live and how to grow. And it doesn't mean that individually we can necessarily change the political atmosphere around us, particularly on a global level. It does mean that we can hold a consciousness. That's what Jesus did. He didn't go around trying to change the whole world. He held a consciousness. And that's what we can do. We can hold that consciousness and accept that our actions and our thoughts and our attitudes really make a difference. I used to think like Rusty. Little old me. What difference do I make in this whole planet, in the whole world? Not even the people I'm around even notice who I am. Until I found out that years later, teachers that I had remembered me. And I thought, who remembers me? But they did. And then even recently, I got reminded of the power within. I found out, I was on a Zoom call with somebody, with a group of people. I was on a Zoom call, and there was somebody on this Zoom call that just kind of bugs me. We have those personality things, and she just does things or says things that just kind of get under my skin. But I didn't say anything. We were collaborating on a project. I didn't say anything. I was just normal. We got off the Zoom call, and she called another person on the Zoom call and says, "How come Mary doesn't like me?" Through a Zoom, she could feel the energy. What a check on consciousness. What a check. Because as we just sit and we think that nobody knows what's going on in here, apparently they do know what's going on in here. They do know that the energy that we're putting out. So what goes on in here makes a difference. What goes on in here makes a difference. Our attitudes, our feelings, and our thoughts make just as big a difference as our outward actions. Because there's an energy exchange. In that energy exchange is such, in fact, that's greater. It's the old story of the parent giving the child a bicycle at Christmas. And they give the child a bicycle at Christmas, and they say, now, you don't park it here, and you make sure you lock it here, and you bring it inside so it doesn't get dirty, and you make sure you use the kickstand because you don't want to get scratches on it, and. And then later, 6 months later, the kid is just dumping this bike, and the parent's going, how come they aren't so grateful for what I gave them? I never had a bike. I walked 10 miles in the snow. They're not grateful for what I'm giving them. What did the child feel? They felt the energy behind the gift. And so when we interact with each other, it's the energy. It's not necessarily these words that we plan on and strategically put out there. It's actually what we're feeling. People can tell what we're feeling. So how do we learn? How do we learn to use that power within? Well, the first thing is we have to accept that we have it, right? We have to get out of that idea of little old me. Because there is no little old me. God doesn't create nothingness. And we are all created by God out of God's substance. So there is nothing little about any of us. So once we do that, then we need to understand what this power is and where the source is. That source is coming from spirit. That source of our power is spirit. Which means we can never run out, right? We can always withdraw when we're feeling overwhelmed and so much grief because of circumstances around us. We can draw on that source within. It's always there at all times. We can understand that we have a oneness with that source, and we cannot be separated. It's sort of like, and I've probably told this story before, but it's like Adam and Eve. When the serpent comes up to Adam and Eve and says, hey, eat the apple on this tree of knowledge, and you can be, do you want to be like God? If you eat this apple, you'll be like God. Well, really, that was a trick question. Like, do you still beat your wife? Because Adam and Eve already had God inside them. It was already there. We don't need to do anything to have the power of God within us. We were born that way. It's who we are. It's the substance of who we are. So we're understanding what that power is. We're remembering where it comes from. That we are that hole in the flute. We are the distributors of that power. So when we draw upon that power, are we drawing upon it in the wholeness? Or are we drawing our power from a wounded state? That was the other thing we learned in the book, The Four Pivots, is that if we go out into that world and try to do good, all the goodness, we're doing this and doing that, all our good deeds. But we're coming from a place of woundedness. If I think I'm not good enough, I'm going to be out there trying to prove to everybody that I am. Over excelling, overdoing, doing this, doing that, being there. If I think I'm not good enough for everybody, I'm going to look at what everybody else needs and make sure that I'm giving you what you need so that you'll think I'm good enough. And the only one who doesn't think that would be me. So we take our woundedness and sometimes project it out there and act from a wounded point of view. But if we step back and realize, and they say, look at yourself through the eyes of your best friend. Look at yourself through the eyes of God, who is your best friend. And then what do you see? Power, wholeness, perfection. Because God didn't make any junk. And God didn't make any mistakes. So each one of us is exactly who we're supposed to be and have all the power available, all the wisdom available, all the abundance available right here inside. And we have a sieve that we filter it through. So how big are the holes of our sieve, right? Are they little teeny tiny things? Or are we widening every day those holes and letting more of our own divinity flow through? Till one day we can throw away the sieve altogether and just let it flow. Ernest Holmes said, in the Sermon on the Sea, find one person who is for something and against nothing, who is redeemed enough not to condemn others out of the burden of his own soul, and I will find another Savior, another Jesus. An exalted human being. And Socrates also agreed with Holmes, or Holmes with Socrates, I guess, that the secret of change is to focus all your energy on not fighting the old, but building the new. So in this power that we have, how much of this power, this energy, do we take and put on what I don't want to see, what I don't want to experience? And how much goes on what I do want to experience. Clean and clear of what I don't. Not as an opposite, because as we've learned, love and power are not opposite. Light and dark are really not opposite either, because they play against each other and complement each other. So all of these opposites that we see are not opposites, they're complementary. So rather than putting and resisting, what we resist persists, rather than resisting and resisting and resisting, we just move aside and focus on what we want. Rather than banging ourselves into the wall over and over, we can take one step to the side and walk through the door. And how often do we run into the wall over and over and over? When one step to the side, we can just walk through the door and create. We are all creative human beings. God is creative. We're made out of God's substance. We have no choice. Every thought creates. Everything we do creates. And sometimes we don't like to think of ourselves as creative because we think of creation as being fine arts. I used to say to myself, oh, I'm not creative. That's just something I can't do. I'm not creative. I can't paint. I can't draw. I'm not a musician. I can't even sing. I just don't have that ear. But I'm always creating something everywhere. And if I take a moment to look around, I can see it. And if I see it, I can take the responsibility and the credit and accept that God is my source and this happened through me, for me, as me. So we're meant to be that creative thing. So if we look around the world today and we just say, well, I just want peace, Miss America, what do you want? Peace on earth, right? But is there peace inside? Right now, there is so much that doesn't look like peace. And it weighs heavy, at least on my heart. And I have to look within and say, is there peace in my world, in my little world, in my own heart? Is there peace between me and myself? Is there peace between me and people online? Is there peace between me and my family? Peace between me and my neighbor? And if there isn't, then I am contributing to the unrest. So I have to look inside. And it takes time, it takes work, it takes getting there, it takes release, it takes understanding, it takes asking Spirit to shine greater in its peace in me. I always think of peace as prayer expressing a conscious experience. And my conscious experience is a manifestation of the peace inside of myself. So if we want to see peace, Thich Nhat Hanh tells us there's no way to peace. Peace is the way. So we want to see peace, we have to be the peace. If we want to see love, we need to be the love. If we want to see abundance, we need to be abundance. And how we start being abundance is through gratitude. Gratitude for everything that we do have, what is around us. The longer the list, the more abundant, because we can't outgive God, right? And God is always sending these things down. We need to kind of look within at our own thoughts, our own family. And where we don't see peace, rise above. Take that third person. You know, when you have the two chairs, you know, and one person sitting here, and you've seen that experience, one person sitting here with their opinions and their thoughts, and the other person sitting here with their opinions and their thoughts. And they try to listen and they try to exchange. But ideally, if we can rise above and be that third person without judgment and just observe both ourself in one chair, another person in another chair, this idea in one chair, this in the other, we get a different vantage point. We get a different view. Instead of looking at what our neighbor is building through the hole in the fence, when we rise above, we can see the whole thing. So that's our challenge. That's our challenge to do that, to rise above and kind of see that different. And once we rise above, we get a clear idea of what's mine to do. And for each one of us, the answer to that question is different. What is yours to do is not necessarily mine. And sometimes we think it is. If my friend feels like they got to do this, you know, then I feel, oh, okay, you're going to this peace rally, I got to do this. If you're doing this, I got to do that. So as each one of us looks at ourselves and says, what's mine to do? It could be going to a peace rally or a different kind of rally. It could be going to a prayer vigil. It could be going to your next door neighbor who happens to be Muslim or Jewish and asking them, how can you be there for them? It could be smiling at the grocery clerk. Or just creating conversation and listening to someone who you don't agree with about something. And just listening from that third position where we're not waiting to criticize or judge or express our own opinion, but simply just listening deeply. Deeply. It could be all of those above. But in any way, it's an exchange of your humanity with those around us. Wikipedia says that power is that which gives the ability to do, act, affect, influence, and have dominion. And the Starlight Express says, you are the power. You have the ability to think, to act, to do, to feel, and generate your attitudes, because they will be felt. So our choice is not whether we're going to use our power. It's not a choice of whether we're going to be creative in this world or not. Our choice is only, will we do it consciously or unconsciously? Because we will create. We do have power, and we will make things happen, consciously or unconsciously. So we look in our hearts first to heal and to bring that wholeness in ourselves, because we cannot give what we don't have. And if we don't have wholeness, if we don't have self-love, if we don't have that honoring of who we are, how can we really do that for somebody else? An example of our attitudes. I have 2 older sisters. And when we were kids, of course, being older sisters, they would tell me what to do, right? That's what older sisters are for. So my oldest sister would tell me to do something, and I would resist totally. Didn't matter what she asked. I was a brat to her. It was just obnoxious. Anything she said, I was ready to fight back and do the opposite. The second oldest sister, she would tell me something. Sure, how, when, what. What was the difference? Well, my oldest sister was trying to prove that she was in charge. And she could tell me what to do because she was older. And my other sister really didn't care one way or another. She just saw what needed to be done, and she said, okay, you do this, and I'll be doing that. And I was okay with that. It was the attitude or the energy in which they did something. So no matter what we're doing, it's the energy that's in our hearts, that's in our being, that's in our consciousness, that carries the words, that carries the actions. So you can say the most loving words in the world, and if you're not feeling it, if you don't love yourself and really feel the love, it's not really going to be felt. And you know that. You've known people that kind of shower the most loving words on you, and you're kind of going, yeah. Because it's an empty feeling. And other people can just barely smile at you, and you just melt because it's authentic and real, and you feel it. So that's what we need to watch about what's in us. People resist what doesn't feel good and embrace what does, regardless of the world. So we can go crashing into the world, being at every rally, doing at every political movement, and if we're coming from a wounded state, we're going to meet resistance. If we come from love and love all of those that we encounter, we will be received with that love. So can we stand for the well-being of ourselves and others, like our global vision? Can we focus our energy only on the good, trashing nothing and no one? This is hard to do sometimes, especially as we watch the news. And that's how media sells. It's by trashing one side or the other or creating drama. But can we, in the midst of chaos, hold our peace, hold our love? I think it takes a lot of practice. We don't just turn a switch and we get there. It takes some practice. But can we do that? Can we practice it? I think we can. I think we can take all that love within us and we can spread it out. So today I'm just asking you to join me in practicing, in moving towards that goal of holding the goodness and the love and keeping that in focus. The goodness, the love. And knowing just as water, when it is focused, has so much power, so does love. And we can do it. Thanks. Namaste. So let's take this into our prayer today. Sitting right here, knowing that the presence of God is all around me and in me. And this presence is so powerful, so loving, so consistent, so present. And knowing that this is my source. This is the essence of which I was made from. This is my spirit that gives me life. So I choose today, I choose to accept this power within me. This power of love, this power of peace. I choose to accept it. I choose to express it. I choose to hold it in my vision. For I am the predominant creator. I am the co-creator with God of my life and all the conditions around me. And knowing that as I do so, it ripples out and out and out. So with gratitude for the awareness of this within me, the awareness of this within each and every person that I encounter, and the awareness that God expresses through nature, through everything. In this awareness, I am so grateful. And I let it be that God expresses fully through me now. And so it is.
Love is my choice. Love is my decision. I wish you peace. I wish you joy. I wish you love, 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 love. I wish you faith in yourself to reveal all that you've come here to be. Love is my choice. Love is my decision. Love is my voice. Love is my religion. Love is my religion. Oh. I wish you strength. I wish you purpose, wish you love, 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 love. I wish you purpose to create all your dreams and co-conspire with the light of your life. Love is my choice. Love is my decision. Love is my voice. Love is my religion. Love is my religion. Oh, 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 oh. Your answers to eternity are always deep inside you. That freedom of expression is yours to choose right now. Love is my choice. Love is my decision. Love is my voice. Love is my religion. Oh, love is my choice. Love is my decision. Oh, love is my voice. Love is my religion. Love is my religion. Oh, love is my religion. Love is. This is the sing-along part. Love is my religion. Love is. One more time now. Love is my religion. Love is. Love is. Oh, love is. One more time. Love is.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, love is my decision. And let's find our invitations here. There is so much stuff up here. Invitations here. Couple things. One I wanted to start with. Today there was to be a peace walk for peace in the Middle East. As you know, last week that got canceled, and there was going to be a gathering at St. Ambrose, and that's even changed a little bit more now. It's a silent prayer vigil at St. Ambrose. There will, and then there will be some dinner or food following, but it will be in silence. We have decided that it's best that we all keep our mouths shut. You know, and if we who have been working on this, you know, feel like it's best if we keep our mouth. I mean, it was even hard in the planning meetings, you know, to be properly respectful of each other and our feelings. So, this will be in silence. So if you do want to join us, let me know, and we'll talk about that. But it will. It's totally a silent event, and we're not announcing it to the greater public because it'd be really hard for those who haven't been in on the nitty-gritty to keep quiet. You know how hard it is to keep your mouth shut? It's really hard. So, but it's one word, you know, just, no, it will be in silence. Okay, so we will have our breathing meditation up here after service. Ingrid leads that breathing meditation. We are starting up with what we call the Dark Fusion Belly Dancing with Marjani on Wednesday evening, starting on the 25th. They aren't starting on the 18th now, they're starting on the 25th. From 6 to 7 is sort of the beginning kind of classes, and they call that drill. And from 7 to 8 is some movement. From 8 to 9 is choreography. If you can just move, yes?
I've actually been going to the classes.
This says it starts on the 25th. Yes. So it's already started, and Drac, where are they?
They're in the Holmes Hall.
In Holmes Hall. So come on Wednesday at 6 o'clock, right?
We've got the first two. The first one is from 6 to 7. And we do drills, and what we're doing is we're learning how to isolate certain parts of our body the way belly dancers do. It's really core strengthening good stuff. She doesn't kill you. And then the second class is really neat because we're working on how to move. And what's awesome about this woman is she's also a kinesthesiologist.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And there's little flyers in the lobby. Okay. The
You'll get to see me trying to do it.
so next weekend there's Village Venture. How many people have been to Village Venture? Even to shop? Okay, Village Ventures is, oh my gosh, it's a shopping experience because it's all creative stuff. It's really interesting. Well, we have a booth, even though we don't have fine arts at our booth. The Claremont Center for Spiritual Living has a booth, and we do pet blessings at our booth. So come visit us. Some people in it, if you can be at our booth for a little while, there is a sign-up sheet out in the lobby. And I have a few flyers for those who have signed up. The flyers tell you where we're located, so you can get there. Because it's huge, it's many blocks, maybe 10 blocks in all. So we are on Yale between 1st and 2nd. Okay, Yale between 1st and 2nd, you'll find us. And we have coming up a treatment board workshop on a Saturday morning. This will be November 11th from 10 to noon in the chapel. Nisa Burrows will lead that. Many of you have created vision boards. This is a vision board kind of centered on doing spiritual mind treatment, which just means, we realize that God is our source, and we put everything on there that we know that can come to us. Nisa will have all the materials. Basically, you get a board this big and a bunch of magazines that you can cut out things that symbolize what you would like to manifest in your life. And Nisa has all the materials, 10 to noon, Saturday the 11th in the chapel. Yeah, it's really comfy thing. So yeah, play clothes, and she'll, glue sticks and scissors, and she'll have all that kind of stuff. And then join us for coffee and some little cookies or snacks out in the lobby after service. Oh, pardon? Yes, the affirmation and the tithing. So, okay, that's all the goodies that coming up. Now, let's do our affirmation on the inside of the bulletin. I'll say it, and then we'll all say it together with those who are online. I got the power, and I use it gracefully with love and peace. I got the power, and I use it gracefully with love and peace.